What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Rick and Morty episode review. So now, when I opened this up to watch, I was not really sure what to expect when it was called the ABCs of Beth. But, well, I guess I should have expected a Beth-centric episode, which is what we got. Now, personally, for me, it wasn't something which I really wanted to see. I wasn't really that interested in seeing a Beth-centric episode because I'm not really that interested in the character. I kind of feel that her interactions are better when she's with Jerry, which is what we had at the tail end of last season. But this was an episode which I didn't really like it. I think this might be down to the fact that it was very Rick-light, it was Morty-light, and even Summer-light. But one good thing out of this is what we got. We got a Jerry episode as well. We got the B story being Jerry's interaction and his new girlfriend of being an alien, which I have to feel this was a bit of a shame. It didn't really live up to what I was expecting. If you've been watching my reviews all season, you've been watching me and you've been hoping, like myself, for a very good Jerry episode, or at least some Jerry, which I guess we can't look a gift horse in the mouth or jump the shark gift house, whatever he said. That bit actually did make me laugh. But the fact that the Jerry episode was something which I thought was a bit of a shame. It just didn't really live up to what I was expecting. But it did give us some personal growth for Jerry, which I guess Jerry did need some sort of personal growth because he's had the divorce and he is self-medicating with an alien girlfriend, which, you know what, is really the kind of medicating which a lot of people, sort of like a midlife crisis he's having here. And he does seem like he does actually care for Beth. But the fact is, does Beth even care about him? Does she want to be with him? Because they did have a kid at 17 and they never really kind of explored life and really got to explore what they wanted. But the Beth part of this episode, I did like the idea that we had some sort of true crime thing here, and it was true crime bragging, like Summer said, which was a very funny line. But here we got a look into kind of Foopy land, which made me laugh. The fact that she self-medicated herself with having I guess self-medicating is sort of the wrong word, but she has distracted herself with her own sort of world, and then, well, she was putting it down, the name of it, which was a pretty terrible name. But Rick came in and he was like, you know what, that's it. Why are you insulting the name of the world which I created? And I kind of think that this would have suited a memory stealing episode. That would have been quite a good kind of run off the Morty mind blowers, where we have Beth mind blowers. But we get an insight into the childhood that Beth actually had, which is something we haven't really seen too much. And I actually am interested in seeing what Rick was like as a father, if he was even a father at all. He wasn't a very good father, but it was a pretty good idea. I think that the execution was a bit kind of left much to be desired. I would have liked maybe if we explored this whole episode around, had no B story, which Jerry had, and I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite for wanting more Jerry, but I can't help but think this episode would have really kind of done a lot better if they focused more on the Foopy land, which really was a joke which didn't really land. Maybe it's because Beth hasn't had that much characterization. Maybe it was due to the writing for Beth, which I don't really think there was many one-liners, any funny things from her. She was literally there to show this joke of this make-believe world. And maybe I'm being a bit harsh on it. Maybe there's a lot of you out there who actually like Beth. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it, if you actually are someone who likes a Beth storyline, which, you know what, that isn't me, and maybe that is my bias on this episode. I feel like there was a lot more that could have been done if these two stories were split and made separate. I think maybe there was a lot more to explore in the Jerry part of the episode, with his girlfriend trying to kind of get Beth to notice him. That these stories really could have merged together a bit better, or maybe having them separate would have been a lot more of, or done it the story a lot more of justice. But Tommy was someone who I thought was really, really funny, and his dark thing where he really does kind of abuse the animals in the world, creates babies and then eats them. He is a cannibal after all, which really does play into the fact maybe his father was a cannibal. And I think that maybe exploring this episode of having flashbacks to their childhood and then having the current timeline of having them kind of explore, that was something which I think was a real shame. And we did have some funny kind of one-liners this episode. We did have the mention of Reddit, how someone turned something to look like R2-D2 for their son and they get the front page of Reddit, which is where... But Fuberland, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing at all. We also had right at the end of the episode when they go for pizza, and he mentions, "Oh no, this isn't time travel. They were just lying there on the side." I think that is a joke by Dan Harmon to try and recognise that time travel isn't really something that is done in this world. However, the episode, I think, really did suffer from the kind of split nature. Obviously, there always needs to be a B story. There does indeed. But the problem is here the fact that the B story may be overshadowed. And like I said, seeing more of Tommy is something which I would have liked. That is a character which could have been really, really funny. And maybe if this was a Rick and Morty story, if this was a Rick and Morty episode, just those two together, we would have explored that just a tad more. And I think that maybe they dropped the ball there somewhat with that, and seeing Tommy would have been a lot more interesting. There's a lot more room for jokes there. But I'm just a guy talking about stupid cartoons on the internet. What the hell do I know? Maybe this is a good episode. Maybe this is me being biased. Let me know in the comments what you think or thought of the episode. Now, there is the episode. This episode does kind of leave on a cliffhanger. Will we see Beth actually take the option of being cloned, and she can go out there and live how she wants? And this is Rick, again, like I was saying last week, he's getting more characterization. He's becoming more of a real decent person here. And maybe he's actually starting to care more about his family more than he has done before. And I like the fact his excuse for not really caring about Beth is that she's not his Beth, which he's not. She's not really, technically. But the fact that there are multiple different versions of Beth out there, and there's multiple different Ricks, and this is the excuse for not caring, which I guess that I can get behind that. I can get behind that reason, because the fact that maybe he's opened up and he's seen that nothing really matters. There's always another version of himself. There's always another version of his family. So why would you really care about absolutely anything? You can just go off and get a replacement version. I guess there is that. And that is why he's so nihilistic. And now that will open up to Beth, because she can go off and explore the universe, the multiverse, whatever she can do, and live that life that she never actually had. And maybe she will come back and actually realise that this is what she wants. She wants this family. She wants to have Jerry as a husband, even though he's absolutely just awful. And I think that this might be something which we will see later on in the season, or maybe even next season. It will be a cliff or a twist that Beth is actually, you know, she is a clone. And I think that maybe, I think there was a hint towards that she actually did do that. I mean, anyone would really do that, to be honest, wouldn't they? They would go off and do exactly what they want if there was absolutely no repercussions. I know I would. I know I really would do that. But unfortunately, this episode was less of a funny episode. Not too much humour this episode, not as much one-liners, albeit the ones which were funny, which the ones were said, were actually pretty good. However, I really do think that they missed an opportunity by not exploring the whole thing with Tommy, and I think that that is a world which would have been absolutely hilarious to explore maybe just a tad bit more. So that is it for this video. I will be doing a Star Trek Discovery episode later, and I will also be doing, as well as this, I've got a Game of Thrones video coming out tomorrow as well. So please do drop a like, please do subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.